Hey, TerDawn.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to be on here.
That's amazing. I'm glad to have you on here. I love all of the major things that you're doing after you done took a long break. and
Yeah.
everything. Yes, and I know you loved it. It was much needed as
Mhm.
well. So, can you let our audience know a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, my name is TerDawn DeBoe Richardson. Right now, by profession, I help entrepreneurs scale their businesses through brand positioning and development, through funnel development, and through ad campaigns so that they can work smarter and not harder. And so that they can find that thing that makes them stand out, because a lot of businesses, they tend to blend in with others in their industry if it's saturated. And so finding their creative genius factor is what I called it, is the key for them to really stand out in the marketplace. And so that's what I do by profession. As a coach, I also coach other entrepreneurs and teach entrepreneurs how to grow and scale their businesses in the most strategic way possible. And I am a mother of three. A mother of three. I'm a wife. I like just I love to garden. I love to garden. I love to read. I love to create. I'm an artist. I love all things creative, and so that is me in a nutshell. If I had to sum it up.
Well, you a jack of all trades. It's a blessing to have all those blessings.
Yeah.
Definitely. So let's go into your business creative thought solution. Tell us
Sure.
a little bit about more. How do you help many business owners to develop their business into a whole nother level?
Okay, so with Creative Thought Solutions, at this point we've helped like thousands of businesses, and for me, what started as I finally found my passion. So I went through all these different majors and went through all these different jobs. I had so many jobs, so many majors. And when I got to graphic design school, it just kind of stuck with me. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm on to something. And it was after I went to school for graphic design that I met my marketing teacher, Mrs. Miracle, and she really showed me like pretty much the marketing world, and I fell in love with that. And so I just started to study and everything that I can get my hands on in regard to digital marketing. I had a whole bunch of different trying years, but then I finally got everything going with. At the time, it was called InnovativEdge Marketing, and with InnovativEdge Marketing, I built that business, and I wasn't being myself. I was an artist previously, a rapper. Like I love to rap. And so I'm like, people are not going to take me seriously if I have this marketing company. So I put on this big persona, like, okay, want to have the business persona, innovative edge marketing. Nothing was unique about it. Nothing was creative about it. And then I was really still just trying to learn what I was doing. And so now, almost 7 years later, and we have definitely hit the six-figure mark. I went from just me as the only person in my business to now I have a team of 10 people that help me to be able to do this. And so once I really, it was a couple of years ago, I'm like, you know what, I need to revamp this business, and I need it to speak to who I am as a person and how we can really help people. And it's really honing in on that creative genius factor, because what I'm finding is that once you know the thing that separates you from everyone else, then it makes it a lot easier for you to position yourself in the marketplace. And so the things that I realized after helping so many entrepreneurs to be able to grow and scale their own businesses is that it usually takes about five different steps to get to the profitable state where you can really like hire people, scale, and everything like that. And so what I have is called the profit formula, and the P stands for positioning. Positioning is super critical. Brand, if you don't have brand positioning, people are not going to take you seriously. They're not going to pay you what you're asking for. They're not going to see the value in what you're doing. They're not going to understand why you're doing it. So positioning really lets people know who you help, why you help them, what pain point that you solve, what is it that makes your company different, or what makes you what you do different than what everyone else is doing, and really seeing what the story is behind it, so that people can connect with you as a company or you as a person. And so from there, we set revenue goals, because if we don't know what the revenue goals are, we won't know how to focus our marketing efforts, and we won't know whether or not we hit those goals or not. And so setting those revenue goals and having campaigns centered around those goals is really important. So that's the R. O is for irresistible offer. The only way that you can make money in your business is that you have an offer and that you send traffic to that offer. Yeah. People make it to be way more than that, but literally every single business that you know of, they either had an offer and they sent people to that offer to purchase from them. And so making sure that that offer is irresistible, so people can sign up and raise their hand because you're speaking their language and you're solving a problem for them, is super important. So that's the O. And then F is for funnel. And so a lot of people ask me, like, what is a funnel? And for lack of better terms, not to go into all the marketing terms, but a funnel is just simply a series of messages that gets people to not knowing who you are at all, what we call it a cold audience, to know, like, trusting you, and then converting into a client or a loyal customer of yours. And so there's a lot of different steps and a lot of different messages that go from when a person is aware that they have a problem to them choosing you as the person to solve that problem. And creating a funnel and automating that process makes it a lot easier, because then you're able to automate your sales. And so you're able to make money, while you're awake, while you're asleep, while you're vacationing, like at any time. So building that funnel around it is super important. I've gotten notifications where I'm just laying in bed at night and I'm getting payments because I have this funnel set up for myself. And then, so that's the F. And then the I is infiltrating the marketplace. And so when you think about infiltrating, I think about like a gang of ants that, once you see one ant, there's going to be 100 more that are coming that are like somewhere in the vicinity, all his cousins, his uncles, his aunts, all that. And so it's the same thing when you're putting out your marketing campaign, you have your funnel. How are you going to infiltrate the marketplace? It was before they said that people needed at least 7 to 12 touch points in order to make a decision to purchase from you. Now, with everything being so crowded and so overrun, people need to see you, and you need to be top of mind as much as possible, whether you're in the emails, whether you're texting the people, whether you're running an ad campaign, whether you're posting on social media, whether you're going live, whether you're on Clubhouse, whether you're doing any of these things, people need to see you, need to be visible. You need to infiltrate where you're at, so people think like, oh, wow, like she's everywhere. I need to, like, true story. I got a $12,000 contract because of that. Because the girl said, she was like, I saw your ad go by once. And I was like, okay, this is cute. She said, I saw it go by again. And I was like, maybe I need to contact her. Right. And she said, then it wouldn't, by the third time, she was like, you know what? I'm booking a call. And then she ended up being someone from a completely different state that I'd never heard of before, but I infiltrated the marketplace and I was in front of her face and I was top of mind for her. So when she was ready to make a decision, she chose us as her agency that she went with. And so that is the I, the infiltrating the marketplace. And then the T is tracking the data. A lot of times we make emotional decisions when it comes to our business, and we can't make emotional decisions because it's not an emotional thing. You have to do it based on the data. So what was that song? Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. Yeah, exactly. So it's like when you're looking at these numbers and you're able to make informed and intelligent decisions and not decisions based on emotions, that's the only true way to tweak and test and grow your offers and your business and the things that you're putting out there. And so using all of those different steps, that usually boils down to brand development, funnel development, and ad campaigns. So those are the three things that we focus in on so that people can hit the profit for their business.
That is amazing that you touch base and all of that, because it's a lot of people that will start a business and they be so excited just having an LLC or
Yeah,
an corporation and have the EIN and everything, but a lot of people don't know the ins of out and outs
those
of.
are the three things that we focus in on so that people. Sorry about that. I was
That's
trying to.
okay. They don't know the ins and outs of their actual business, as far as like the numbers that you were saying and the funnels and everything. A lot of people just throw stuff out there, and then sometimes they only cater to their circle. When
Right.
it's a broad of whole bunch of people out there that's willing to support them and love what they're doing, but a lot of people don't strategize and make sure they're pivoting with everything that they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
it's
it's so important too. Like people don't realize how important strategy is. Like just having a strategy for what you're doing. A lot of times people will be like, I want to hit six figures. That's like the glorified mark. I want to hit six figures or I want to be a billionaire. Those are the two things I hear. Either you want to hit six figures or you want to be a millionaire. And with any of those things, it's like, well, what plan do you have in place to make that happen? If you
right.
know that it takes $277 per day for you to hit the six-figure mark, then what product do you have in place? What offer do you have in place? How many people do you need to get that offer in front of? And what is your conversion rate? What rate are you actually converting at? And then what is the lifetime value of that customer? Like all of these things boil down to numbers. And a lot of times people just don't realize it, or they just don't take the time to look at it. And then they get emotional when they're not getting the results.
Yes, and it takes a lot of consistency as well. And then a lot of times people don't realize that you have to spend money to make your brand look eye catching, for people to be willing to, like, oh yeah, because like your brand, if you on point, is so colorful. You love colors, so
I
bright.
do.
Yes, that's one
Thank you.
thing I know. You love you some colors, and but
Yeah, I
it's
got colors on now.
yes, but it's eye catching. It
Mhm.
works for you. And like that's what a lot of people need to realize, what actually works for them, what works for their
Right.
brand, so they can start having residual income coming in for them
Mhm.
to be able to make those things happen.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I love your branding too. Your brand positioning is super on point. I remember yeah, I know when things catch my eye because I do this for a living. I'm like, okay, that was done really well. I remember I had to text you one day like, girl, you out here cutting
Yeah, you
because the brand positioning was solid, and now you're starting to see like what that means for you, even that people take you seriously. They don't, even people that you want to reach out to, they look. When everyone's always going to go look, they're going, if you reach out to them for something, they're going to look to see what you have and how you're positioned in the marketplace before they say yes.
Yes, and that is true. And a lot of people don't realize like the position I'm at is from my branding, because
Mhm.
that'd be the first thing they'd be like, man, your branding is on point. I
Right.
put my client on your show. That'd be the first thing. So it's very, very important. And I really love what you're doing. Like it's
Thank you.
amazing. You
Thank
you
you.
you be killing it anyway.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
So tell me about how did you come up with Wholepreneur Lifestyle with your organic products?
So that's just one of the expressions of the inner work that I've been doing over the last few years. So I was at a point about 3 or 4 years ago where I was like, okay, either I'm going to have a breakdown or I'm going to have a breakthrough, because I was just overwhelmed. I had just gone through a divorce at that time. My business wasn't doing what I thought it should be doing. Like I just had so many issues all compiled up into one like season. And I was just like, I don't know what it is I'm going to do next. And so that started this journey of healing, like some deep inner work, because sometimes we don't realize how much the trauma, just being in an abusive relationship when I was younger, and being taken advantage of when I was little, and just all these different instances that silenced me or made me just bitter on the inside, and I didn't know how to express it on the outside without being toxic. And so I was bleeding on everyone, but couldn't figure out what kind of surgery I needed to fix the issue. And so that started the journey of therapy, of doing like just some deep healing work within myself. And as I was doing that, I'm just like, wow, I see where I was lacking in taking care of myself, because if you're not taking care of yourself, like nutritionally, if you're not feeding yourself the right things, if you're not putting the right things into your body, then it shows up because you don't have the energy to do anything. Your body starts, holding on to all this different things that get stuck, whether it's stuck energy, whether it's things that just need to be cleansed from your body. And so I sat back and I was just like, one thing that I have not seen is a supplement line that would support entrepreneurs while we have all these things, all these instances in which we need support. So like for me, I skip meals. If I have a meeting, it's easy for me. My husband will come down like, did you eat? I'm like, I forgot, And so like that was a big thing for me. It was a big thing for me to find things that would not only support, entrepreneurs, but also be very, very good for the body. As far as everything is all organic, we made sure we went through the certifications. We got several certifications for all the things that we use, all the ingredients that we use. Even the capsules are vegetarian, and I made them into capsules so that they can be easily pulled apart and put into shakes, because I hate taking pills. And I know if anyone else hates taking pills, and they would appreciate that. And so like never skip a meal is a meal replacement, organic meal replacement. And everything is named after entrepreneur stuff. So never skip a meal. And then we have 10X your performance protein powder. So if you work out and you need to have some protein to, feed your muscles, then, you're 10Xing your productivity with that. And so it's 10X your performance with the protein. And then we have Think Like a Boss brain support. Like, I don't know about you, but like my brain sometimes at the end of the day is just fried. My short-term memory, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like my brain is overrun. And so I got the Think Like a Boss brain support to be able to help with the cognitive functions, the way that our brain is, working, the way that we are retaining things, the way that we're having to think about creative ideas and all of that kind of stuff. So I created brain support. And then also we have log off and chill, because for me, when I lay down, my brain just does not shut off. Constantly. Exactly. So I made the log off and chill to be able to be a relaxation support. It doesn't make you drowsy, but it helps you to naturally relax so that you can just wind it down from a long day, or just kind of help you to rest and settle in. And then we have the Total Reset. It's a 30-day AM and PM detox that's really cleansing for the body, but it's also gentle. So you're not jumping up. I know some cleanses you're jumping up and you're going to the bathroom like every 5 minutes because it's like really cleaning you out and it's aggressive. But this is a gentle way of cleansing your system. Then we have Work Smarter pre-workout. So that's something that will give you a boost. Sometimes even if I'm not working out and want the extra boost, I just put it in my water. So it's the pre-workout, which is the Work Smarter pre-workout. I have elderberry syrup, which is great for your immune system. I know someone personally that was diagnosed with COVID, and she had just bought one of my boxes of products, and she said, I've been taking this and I literally don't feel, I don't feel the effects of what's going on in my body because I've been taking the elderberry syrup. And the one that I have it's twice the potency of the leading brands, because I wanted to make sure that it was quality. And then I also have the CBD oil, and the CBD oil is really, really great for any aches, pains, body functions. I was down in Atlanta, And the lady I was with, she had a really bad headache when she woke up, and she put it under her tongue, held it there. She was like, this is the first time that I took CBD oil that I felt it literally going through my body and healing it. And so her headache was gone within 5 minutes with taking the CBD oil. And then we have the no days off immune system support. So if you just want a booster every day for your immune system, it has a lot of organic like mushrooms and things like that in it, so that it can help to support the system so that you don't have to take any days off. And I don't mean no days off of work, because I do believe that entrepreneurs should work. I mean, should rest. But I mean, no days off, because even the days that you're not working, you want to spend time with your family, or you want to go do something you enjoy. So you don't have to take a day off because you're sick. So that's why I called it no days off.
Wow. That is amazing that you have all of those, because it is needed in entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
People want to just buy the whole inventory and be like, look, this is what I'm gonna need right here, so I can just continue to move forward and continue to do the things that I want to do.
Yeah.
Like, seriously. So what was the greatest obstacle in executing the vision for it?
There were, so for me, I even though I've been passionate about, like, even now I'm studying to become an herbalist, because I'm super passionate about just holistic things, holistic healing, eating the right things. I even started growing my garden at the top of the year too. So that's something I'm super passionate about. But in terms of it being a business, I've never sold like actual physical products before, never been in the health industry in terms of having a business there. And so even though it's geared toward entrepreneurs, the thing that I had to understand is that this is still like the health market, and having to learn a whole different industry and a whole different way of doing things, and it is pretty much a whole new thing.
So, give you a whole new life.
Yeah, it was just a whole thing. And then having to go through all of the, jumping through all of the hoops to make sure that it was quality that I was putting out there, having to test it on myself, having to approve the branding, and having to create my own stock images with the photography. And it was just a lot of stuff. It literally took me the entire 2020 to actually get everything, done and get everything launched and going. And I'm still getting it launched and going.
Oh yeah, you'll never be finished. It's gonna be to a point you keep finding something to add more to it.
Oh, man.
It's a lot of work, I already know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So take us to ground zero. Who is TerDawn before all of this entrepreneurship that you're doing right now currently? Because a lot of times people just see everything that we have accomplished, but they don't know the things that we've been through way before we even made it to this point in our lives.
Right. So going back to square one, I've always been just a free spirit, creative. My best friend, she calls me a hippie. She's like, you are a hippie. Because like even my parents, they yell at me like, why are you barefoot? But I just love to be barefoot outside, free spirit, like just running and creating stuff. And that's who I've been. Now, that was me before any of the trauma came in. So when I was touched by a family member and taken advantage of in that way, that really tainted my view of a lot of things, and it kind of shut me up, and it made me withdrawn, because they said, well, if you tell anyone, then I'm going to harm you, or I'm going to with the threats. And so I was just like, okay, well, I'm not supposed to say anything. So that kind of shut me up and shut up some of my creativity. And then moving along, I snuck out of the house when I was 16, and I wasn't supposed to. My dad was a pastor. My mom was an entrepreneur, and she also they both had really great jobs. I lived in California. My dad was not only a pastor, but also a teacher. And so that's where I get the teaching from. He had a doctorate and 2 masters, and Him and my mom were married for 30 years until he passed away in 2012. So they were very, very strict, but they always encouraged me to be myself and to express myself in the best way that I could. And so, needless to say, they didn't let me date, and I snuck out of the house one night. And when I was out and I snuck out of the house, the guy that I went to go meet, he said, if you don't, have sex with me, then I'm not taking you home. And so that day that happened, but then I ended up pregnant with my 19-year-old now. She's 19 now. And that was very traumatic for me too, because I had to deal with the judgment from, people, but then I had to deal with the shame of, man, if I wouldn't have made this decision, I took a lot more responsibility for that than I should have, because I just felt like, well, if I wouldn't have did this, then this wouldn't have happened. Not understanding, like, no, like, regardless of what your action is, you never deserve to be taken advantage of.
Right.
And so that was another situation in which I just felt like, part of me was stripped away in terms of me expressing myself, and just everything that came with that. And then moving on, when I found out I was pregnant, I ended up going hard. I got 2 jobs, and then I graduated early on the honor roll. And then my parents, after I had my daughter, were just like, we're moving to Cleveland. I'm like, we're moving where and why? and so we moved here, and it was a big adjustment. It was very different.
I was going to ask you how big of the adjustment was from you going from there to here.
It was a huge adjustment. I came out here smiling and waving at people, and it just wasn't exactly like, who are you? What do you want?
Her.
Exactly. So it was like a big culture change for me.
I bet.
But I feel like Cleveland really toughened me up when it comes to a lot too. And so I just kind of was trying to find my way after that. I just really didn't know what I wanted to do. I started pursuing music, and I was just trying to figure it out. I went to school for fashion, didn't stay in there. Went to school for law, didn't stay in there. Went to school for business, didn't stay in there. Went to what else did I do? I feel like I did so much. And then graphic design is finally what I settled in on, and then met my marketing teacher. But before that, I was the first female gospel rapper ever signed to a major gospel label. So I was signed to Ty Scott Records, and the project that I was on ended up being nominated for a Stellar Award in 2016. So things were really going well when it came to the rap. I was just like, music just takes way more out than it puts in right now. And so I was like, I need something that is going to sustain my income. And it was around that time that I realized, like, I really love the design aspect, because I would give designers my vision and they wouldn't be able to convey that. And so I was just like, well, if I learn it myself, then I can do it myself. Yeah. And so I remember the last job I worked right after school, after I left school for graphic design, was a hotel. I won't name the name of the hotel, but I went to go pick up my check, and they were like, well, come in here. And then they fired me. It was my day off. It was Craig. They fired me on my
They gotta be the worst.
I was just like, wait, what? Like, how?
I'm trying to get my money, and one thought I was about to leave peacefully.
Exactly. And so I was just like, okay, you know what? And that was the same exact day that me and one of my first clients ended up becoming my partner at the time for the show we did called What's Good Cleveland, Drico Lamar. I came outside. I was like, guess what? He was like, what? I'm like, they fired me. He was like, it's your day off. I'm like, I know. I'm like, I know. And so he was like, oh, so you got to do your business now. I was like, no, I'm not ready to do that. I'm just not ready to do that.
That should put some fire up under you.
Oh my goodness. So that was almost 7 years ago, and it's still going now. And like I was saying before, like even outside of the professional things that I was learning, I was just going through so much. I had, when I first moved here to Cleveland, I met my youngest two kids' father, and we were in a relationship, but it was very abusive. Like, it was called pretty much everything but my name. And so it really, really tore on my confidence level. And being 21 with three kids was not where it was at. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to be a mother. It was so much responsibility. And I knew that I just I had to do something so I could be better for them, but I didn't know how. And so I did all the ways that didn't work, drinking too much or partying too much, or I just did all the things that just made me feel good, but it did not change the situation. The situation was still there. And I remember being at one of my lowest points, sitting in the kitchen on the floor. And I just remember just being like, you know what, like, this is it. Like, I don't care, and everyone would be better if it wasn't here. So I cut my wrist, my left wrist. I still have the scars here. And I just remember hearing a voice saying that your life is not yours to take. And so sometimes when I look back at that now, I'm like, wow, everything that I've done since then, like, yeah, I would have been foolish to try to take my own life, but I was just at such a low point. And so, like, all of the low points that I've gotten to always propelled me into what the next part of my journey was. And the last 4 years has really been about the healing journey, because of all the things and circumstances that I've had. I needed to heal from the trauma that I faced. My kids, I just wasn't, in the best place to be a great mother for them, being so young. So even having to help them heal through it and having to deal with everything, and then their father passing away. So it was just like, okay, always having to dig out, like, what is it that I am becoming through all of these situations?
Right.
Who am I becoming through all of these situations? And really understanding and getting to know myself and understand, like, who is that talking? Is it the hurt talking? Is it really me talking?
Yeah.
Or is this, the Most High talking to me? Like, who is it talking? And so I've been I've been really, really, really focusing on, what Matthew 6:33 says: seek ye first the kingdom, and everything else will be added unto you. And then there's another scripture in Luke that says the kingdom is not to the left or right; it's nowhere out there; it's within you. And
Yes.
so a lot of times people don't understand, like,
No, they don't.
ourselves, and how deep are we going to go within ourselves to heal and to cultivate and to create and to become everything that we were made to be. And so that is where I am now. And I'm learning to fall in love with the actual journey and the process, because that's what's making me. Even though I always have a goal and a destination and whatever the case is, I've learned to just be quick to start my ideas, but be patient with the process and be patient with who I become while I am achieving those ideas or those goals.
I can say this from the last time I seen you in person.
Mhm.
I can honestly say your spirit is a lot more peaceful now than back then.
Yeah.
It's like you have a whole calmness to you. It's like you have a different glow to yourself. And it's clear as day. If someone's been around you and they really paid attention to you, they will see it too.
Oh, yeah.
I can honestly say that I am extremely proud of you that
Thank you.
you even reached this point in your life, because it's so important. A lot of people don't understand how important it is to enhance your self reflection, of being comfortable enough to see yourself in the mirror and being able to accomplish things in your personal life and moving forward from things that made you carry some form of pain.
Right.
And it's just important because we will find ourselves dragging something for so many years without even knowing that it's there. But if someone tell you it's there, you would get offended,
Right.
where you have to realize it yourself. And
Mhm.
I'm glad that you reached that level, because now you have something even bigger planned that you could even imagine right now, because you have jumped that hurdle right there. You
Right.
that
Yeah.
point. And it's just important. It really is.
It is. It's the most important, and I tell people all the time, this is the most important work that I've ever done. The work on myself and being committed to this healing journey and making sure that I'm the very best that I can be for not only myself, but for my family, for my community, for everyone that's connected to me. You don't realize how much other people's breakthrough is connected to you getting your breakthrough. And
Yeah.
so a lot of times, I'm looking like, oh man, this is a lot, and this is challenging, and all of these things. And like, man, she did that, and I could do it too. And so it's like having to be mindful that it's not just about me. I'm in service to the Most High, of course, but then also to everyone who's connected to me. So having to make sure that I have enough in my own cup so that I can always pour into others.
Yes, and one thing about it that I've noticed throughout your whole conversation is that you held yourself accountable for the things that you've done. Also, for you to be able to transition, and us facing that reality, it's a painful process, and it makes us stubborn. It makes us like no, hesitant, and
Yeah.
when we do that accountability, and we be like, okay, I did this, I did that, I was toxic at that time.
Mhm.
Even what you saying as far as with your kids or anything, to a point that help you transitioning, you probably see a difference within your household too.
Right. Yeah, that's what the one of the biggest lessons that I've learned is that everything and everyone is a mirror. So if something is going on outside of me, it's really a reflection of something that I need to deal with inside of me. So it's like now when I'm triggered, it's like, okay, well, why did I get triggered? What is unresolved within me that needs to change so that this outside situation or this outside person can't affect me in that way anymore? And so that part has been really, really transformational because yeah, everything, like you said, like for me, holding myself accountable is really important because I understand that everything outside of me is that reflection of something going on inside of me.
Yes, and that's it. That's it to a point. Because I mean, you already got everything going on as far as your organic supplements and everything. And not only those supplements can help other people, you're utilizing it for yourself
Mhm.
too. And
Yeah,
like do your own testimony with your own product.
yes, yes, definitely.
so
Absolutely.
so that's it. That's all for that. Seriously. Can you explain to people that are watching, that may be business owners or even working a 9 to 5, how important it is to keep yourself up and keep yourself together, or even anointed and praying over yourself and your surroundings?
Oh yeah, like it's the most important thing. It really is because you are your business. If you go down, then everything connected to you also goes down. And so it's like it's your responsibility because one thing that we don't realize is being entrepreneurs and we have to deal with people all the time that if you have unresolved things within you, then it comes out in your business. Then you're snapping on customers and you're getting bad reviews and you're bleeding on them. You're having breakdowns. You're not able to deliver the work. You're not able to do what is required of you for such a big responsibility. And so it is so important. About 3 or 4 years ago, I was like a workaholic. I would just be working all the time, and I just felt like my finances just didn't match up to all that I was working on. But I started really taking the Sabbath off. So Saturdays, I do absolutely nothing. And it was so hard. It was so hard when I first started. And I was like, I have to work on Saturday. Like, how else am I going to get these things done? But I've made it a practice now to honor myself and to honor the Sabbath too, and to honor my commitment to making sure that I have a day in which I can rest, that I can listen. Because a lot of times when we're praying, it's us doing a lot of talking instead of us like really sitting and listening for the answers.
Yeah.
So just making sure that I'm listening, that I'm grounding myself, that I'm doing whatever it is that I want to do on that day. It's off limits for my clients to contact me on that day. Most people know that that's my day of rest. And so I take that day and I really, really take that time off. And then if I feel like even the last couple of weeks, I'm like, okay, my schedule has been a little bit busier. So then on the 20th through the 24th, I'm going to Sedona. I'm going to take that time to meditate, to do my yoga practices, to read, to just get away. And so for me, that's what keeps the rest of the business running, is me being able to have time to really think, to strategize, to center myself, to make sure that all of those things are done. Especially making sure that I'm able to tap in and work through anything, because sometimes we're just going all day long, and 3 things popped up that triggered us, but we didn't address them because we had to keep on moving to the next thing. And so it's really important that you sit with like, earlier this triggered me. Why did that trigger me? And then write in your journal or get it out somehow so that you know, like, okay, this is why this triggered me. I need to deal with this issue, or where did this issue stem from? Oh, it stemmed from when I was a kid and someone did this. And so now I'm still dealing with the effects of that. And so it's the most important thing, because then you'll understand how to deal with yourself better, and then understand how to deal with other people better too. And you can only attract the level that you're at as far as energetically. And so when you have those lower things that you have to work through, guilt, shame, hurt, pain, all that, then you attract people who have those same issues, and they come and y'all keep going through that same toxic cycle, and then have each other to lean on. Someone's being the victim and someone's being the hero, someone's being the rescuer, like all those toxic cycles going around and around. But when you start healing yourself, then you notice that you start attracting people that are on that same frequency too, that are healing themselves, that are going after their goals, that are working through their issues. Like a lot of the people that I'm really, really connected to and that are really close to me are people that do inner work. They do inner work. And so we're able to say, like, we're able to vent, like, girl, this happened. Yeah. And you know that this was probably because of this. Yeah. I realized that too, because we're both doing the work. And so we're able to, have a mature conversation, and not one that is calling in more of that stuff.
Yes. And that's so true. And a lot of people, even though you've been friends with people for years, or you've been business partners for someone for a long time and all that, everybody has a form of expiration date, and that expiration date isn't necessarily like I'm mad at you, you mad at me type thing. It's just a level of frequency, like you were saying, in our mindset. It's just, I'm a little bit further ahead of you right now. When you catch up, I'll still be here.
Yeah.
At the same time, we just can't go back and forth like teeter-totting amongst each other, trying to figure out who good and who bad type thing.
Right. Exactly.
Yes, and it's important, because especially being surrounded by people with that same mindset. Like, I even went through a phase where I probably deleted about 2,000 Facebook friends.
Wow.
And I was just on the road.
Time that day.
I had plenty of time. I went to mutual friends and everything. I mean, it was just some people I didn't know, or somebody make a certain status, and I was like, I don't feel like looking at this. So I delete them. It's just I just don't want to be tied to any type of internet that way. And it's important because it brings peace in your personal life. And you have a feed of positivity, you know, different things. So it's really important that people really tap into that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so important to just cleanse and clear anything that doesn't align with where you're going. A lot of times we'll try to hold on to things that are not in alignment with where we're trying to go. And so because they're familiar, because they're comfortable, because the unknown can bring about fear. That really is when you have to lean in and trust your inner guidance and know, like, whatever you're letting go of will be replaced with something that is far better for where you are now.
Yes, definitely. So tell me, what are some of the things that you do have coming up?
So the things that I do have coming up is next week I have a 2021 profit planning masterclass where we walk through not only how to assess and audit your current year that we're in now, but also how to set revenue goals and then how to match your marketing campaigns for your revenue goals for the entire year. So we will plan out the full everything needed for you to meet those revenue goals with your marketing campaigns.
Wow, you know I'm signing up.
It's gonna be great. And then I'm actually giving away a 17-page cash flow calendar too, so you can keep track of, you know, when you're going to have campaigns, how much money you're expecting, what your audience is like. You'll be able to really analyze your revenue based on the goals that you set and make your strategy and your campaigns match that goal.
Yes, and it's very needed because you know a lot of people probably didn't see too much going on this year, or some people lost their business. It's just so many things, but I believe it's a reset, reboot type of season where you can just bring in a new year and you could just start dominating everything that you wanted to do in the year of 2020. Or you can even expand your audience if you did have a business that grew so much to a point you ready for the next level. And so it's really good that you're offering a service like that and it can help a lot of people.
Yes, that is, I know that we're going into 2021 and planning is everything. Sometimes we just play it by ear and then we expect the money to come up and then we make fear-based decisions trying to get money through the door, whereas it wasn't aligned with, you know, having a strategy or having a plan so that so you don't have to stress out so much.
Yes, I know. And that's where a lot of people are at. They are stressed, but we gotta make it happen.
Right.
We definitely gotta make it happen. So how can someone get in touch with you?
So you can get in touch with me on everything. So LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. At TerDawn, TerDawn DeBoe, I'm the only TerDawn. Well, I found out there's one other TerDawn in like somewhere overseas. So there's two TerDawns in the world. But so you can on all channels, it's at TerDawn DeBoe, or you can go to TerDawn.com, where my website is, and you can see all the work that I've done as far as teaching, speaking, coaching, or you can go to Creativity Helps, and that's my agency site, and that is where you can see all the work that we've done as an agency, all the companies that we've helped, all the organizations that we've helped. All the testimonials surrounding that. So those are all the places that you can reach me.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. I enjoyed this conversation.
No problem. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It was a great conversation.
I know, wasn't it? It was real good. And we're going to have to further on. And even in the future, we could hold some like different topics even on the show for people to be able to expand their brands or anything of that nature. It'll be very, very needed.
Absolutely. Yes, I agree.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. Good seeing you.
It's good seeing you too.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.